Meet Sarah and Mike from Cheshire. They always knew they would need IVF treatment to get pregnant due to Mike having had a vasectomy many years ago. Like so many couples seeking help to start a family, they began researching the overwhelming options available to them.
So we narrowed down the options that we felt safe and secure with as a clinic. And one of the things we felt we needed to do was proceed with the Skype consultation, just to see if our instincts and gut feelings were right and find out more about the individual treatment we would need. So we set the Skype consultation up for an evening. The clinic were happy to do it at a time that fitted in with us because of work commitments. It was nerve-wracking before the Skype consultation started. I don't really know why, because the minute it started we felt at ease, everything was just so natural. And from there we could talk about our individual treatment plans and our circumstances, and the more we could give to Dr. Housgan, the more he could help us with the plan. Yeah. From that we knew that this was a clinic that we wanted to start treatment with, and we were very keen to start sooner rather than later. But again, it was very much up to us when we started. So from that we then had another Skype consultation, didn't we, with the nurse? Yeah, with the nurse, about more the medication plan.
So a few days later.
Yeah, which was helpful because you're trying to remember everything on the first consultation, and you just can't, you know, you're trying to remember every question you want to ask and taking everything they're saying to you. So that second consultation was really, really helpful, just to iron out bits that maybe we'd got a little bit confused on, and just to reassure us that we were understanding everything correctly. And then we got a plan, didn't we, sent through?
They spoke through on the consultation what we would be going through, but then they sent the plan in a really easy to follow format, which I think was really helpful.
It is, it just takes pressure off you, because although you did know what you were doing, you've got that kind of reassurance again, that you can just stick on your fridge or wherever you need to double check. And so from there we knew exactly what time we'd be flying out, what we were aiming for, what to expect as the process started in the pre-treatment. So really that was quite straightforward from there on. I just needed to follow the medication plan and keep in touch if anything changed. I mean, we always felt really, really well supported. We knew at the end of the day we could just make a phone call if anything didn't seem quite right. We could check things out if we had any worries. I think what was nice is we did have a named nurse who was our key contact. Although we could talk to any of the nurses or doctors there, having the named one just made it that little bit more personal and know who really was the best person to speak to. But we've met many different people, and everyone has known our circumstances from the professional team, so we've not been worried that the team couldn't support us if they were off work that day. Or after we'd started our treatment plan, we got our medication through Fertility to You the first time. The clinic has a good link with them. They send the prescription straight there, and it is a very efficient service. I mean, we had it delivered the next day. People can choose if they want to have the prescription sent directly to them to use at local pharmacies. Again, that's not a problem because Dr. Housgan's GMC registered, and all the other doctors are allowed to have prescriptions anyway in the UK because Norway counts as part of the EAA. So sometimes you have to remind pharmacies of that, but again, that's not an issue being abroad.
Cost was obviously a factor. I say we worked out that even allowing for accommodation and flights, we would get between 2 and 3 attempts over here in Norway. If I'm totally honest, when I looked at the prices and I compared it to other clinics, there was a little thought at the back of my mind that we were going to get out to Norway, and all of a sudden we would be told, well, actually there's this and this is extra and this is extra, and then you have to pay for this. But no, it's exactly as it was laid out.
There was no surprises.
There was no hidden costs involved, and again, that's something that helps put us at ease.
After their initial consultation, Mike and Sarah decided to go ahead with the treatment plan.
We chose to make this into a bit of a holiday as well as a treatment process, because we just wanted to make it as relaxing for us as we possibly could, and having never been to Norway, we wanted to take advantage of being able to see the stunning scenery that is available. So when we arrived, we came down on the Friday to have an initial check, to have a quick scan to make sure there were enough eggs, see how things were looking, and from that they could then direct me on when we would do the trigger injection and when we would actually have the egg collection, because obviously that varies from person to person. So each time we've been down, we've had an initial scan on the Friday and then the egg collection on the Monday. Again, after all the initial checks and scans, a nurse meets with you to guide you through the next steps so that you don't need to be nervous or worried about what's happening. Because there is a lot of pressure that you put on yourself because you want it to work, and trying to play it down as much as possible and get the support really makes a difference.
The laws and rules in Norway are very strict. Again, something we were really pleased about. So even though we had blood checks over in the UK, we had to have them redone over here, but the process was so simple. The hospital is 2 minutes away from the clinic. They made the appointment. We went over. You just take a ticket. We were in and out of the hospital in 20 minutes, having had the blood test done, and the results were back the same afternoon. Really, really efficient. Again, at the hospital, the staff over there spoke good English as well, so again, wherever we've been, we've been able to communicate with people. Any worries that we had that we wouldn't people wouldn't know what we were talking about because we don't speak Norwegian, wasn't a problem. Whether it was in the clinic itself or at the hospital or at the hotel, everybody speaks really good English. When we initially came over, we met with Dr. Hausken. But in terms of the actual treatment, we've got to see the other consultants as well, and just everybody within the team. It's almost as if they know your background, they know exactly what's going on.
You just feel like they genuinely really care.
Yeah,
they're just
felt really, really comfortable, well looked after, and for me, particularly. I'm very protective of Sarah. I wanted to be sure that she was being well looked after, and that's certainly how we've felt.
Of IVF, it is a journey without a doubt, and for us, we've tried to be as relaxed about it as possible. However, you do invest so much into trying to get the result that you want that it does knock you back when things don't work. I think for the first time we had come in with no real expectations of knowing whether it was possible, so we were probably a little bit more prepared at the beginning for things not to work. But then as we went through that first process, things were more and more positive than we could have hoped for. So I think we did unintentionally get a little bit carried away about it working. And it is really, really heartbreaking when it doesn't work, because you do feel like it is a little part of you and like something's gone wrong. You question whether you could have done stuff differently, and I think it's important to try not to do that, because there are no guarantees in trying to go through treatment, but what you are doing is giving yourself the best chance to try and get the result. Obviously, when you do get the positive result like we did in September, it's so surreal and amazing, and trying to keep your feet on the ground is hard, and we've tried to take it as step by step. All the way through this process there are little hurdles, aren't there, from the hoping you've got enough eggs, to hoping they're then fertilised, to then hoping they develop right, to then hoping you get the next result. So it is so many steps, and I think it's important to take it step by step.
It has been a whirlwind year for Mike and Sarah, and they are now at the end of their journey.
It feels like the clinic are almost like part of the family now. They've followed what we've been going through, and each step of the way they want to keep up to date with what's going on. So when you do the test after the 14 days, you get in touch with the clinic and let them know, and they followed what's going on. So it's almost like being part of the family now.
It does feel like it in a really nice way, that you don't just feel like you're a person on a conveyor belt. You do feel important. So after you get the positive result and you've kind of stopped celebrating and calmed down a little bit, you do get in touch with the clinic to let them know, because it's important for them to know what the result was either way. But then your treatment goes through the NHS like normal. You contact your local GP, and for me it was via the early pregnancy unit. Each area in the UK does it slightly differently, but your GP and the maternity service is going to be your point of call. Again though, the clinic is at the end of the phone, but by that point it is so much easier and a nice way to go through the NHS, which is on your doorstep. And so we're about to have our next scan, aren't we? It'll be 13 weeks scan soon under the NHS, so it's nice and easy. So we're really pleased, aren't we, that on our third attempt we've managed to get a successful pregnancy. So we've got our little baby due in June 2016.
On the 1st of June. And this is a 12-week scan at 12 weeks. So everything's going really, really well. And we're just keeping fingers crossed that everything continues to go along okay. But
we're
really, really pleased.